Well, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 20 of Delicious Dungeon Meshy, and I know what you were expecting. You were expecting me in cosplay is what you were expecting, and I had every intention. I had marked down this was the episode for it to happen, and I had timed when the piece of my cosplay was supposed to arrive at my house so that I could have it for the episode. But guess what? It's been stuck in a warehouse for 2 weeks and hasn't arrived yet. It's literally in my state. It is in my state. It's like 4 hours from me. I could probably go drive to the warehouse and find it, but it's been there for 2 weeks. And it's supposed to come later this week, but I'm getting ready to travel for my trip, and I was like, I need to record episode 20 because it's going to come out while I'm gone. And so I talked to Elfreya, who had commissioned me doing the cosplay, and I was like, it might be episodes 21 or 22 when I get to it, and they were like, that's fine. So thank you for being encouraging. I promise it will definitely happen before the end of the season, but my goal was to happen around this time, but that's fine. We'll just have it happen next week, hopefully. So that's the goal anyway. That's the idea, but anyway, I have a lot of comments to talk about, so we'll just go from there and see what we get. But I've got a lot of comments I want to talk about in terms of episodes 17 and 18, which are out on Patreon and YouTube right now, so I'm super excited about that. But the second half of this season can do no wrong. It's just literally, and I love that this is kind of like episodes 17 and 18 and even 19 have been sort of like Laios's arc, because you had an episode 17 with Shuro calling him out, which we'll talk about in the comments, with calling him out for not being like the best read on people, and we've compared him with Kabru. And then the last two episodes, 18 and 19, Laios has had to step up and kind of come full circle from the moments he had back at the beginning of the series with the paintings and with understanding people and showing that he is an observant person. He just is socially different, and that's fine. So I've really appreciated Laios' arc. As my favorite character, I've really appreciated it. So it's been a lot of fun. But with that being said, we got a lot of comments to get through, so we need to get started on this. Sebastian Weinberg for episode 17 had two notes. One was, they came close in episode 17 to a TPK, or a total party kill, a term for role-playing games meaning that nobody's left to heal or revive anyone, aka game over. And I hadn't thought about it until episode 17, but yeah, the episode 17 definitely pointed out the critical importance of a healer. Because yeah, having Marcel be around to revive Fallon was one thing. That was the goal. So you needed a mage or a healer to do that. But at the end of the day, like, Holm pulled his weight, and so did Mizuru. Like, they were necessary to get the game back on, because Marcel only has so much magical energy to be able to use in her magic. So the critical importance of a healer was really stressed in episode 17, and feels like it will be really important moving forward, which is why last episode, Asebi, or Iku. Somebody suggested I say Iku or Iku, but Asebi just rolls off my tongue so well, and it is a name that they use, so we're just gonna roll with it. But Asebi targeting Marcel had a lot of stakes to it last week, because Marcel's like literally their only efficient healer right now, but Laios is getting there. Laios is becoming a defender, a healer, so that I feel like that's going to come into play later on. The other comment they said was that with the quote, Laios figuring out what to do. It was talking episode 17. I was confused. I thought that it was Senshi's monologue about monsters, but they pointed out it was actually Laios' monologue to Senshi back in episode 7. Way back in episode 7. When Senshi trusted Anne the Kelpie. Senshi recently threw those words back to Laios' face when it came out that Laios had Kinsuke with him the entire time, and Kinsuke getting scared and running from the dragon cost them their best chance to end the fight earlier with fewer injuries. Which is true, but it all ended up working out, right? But thank you for that correction. I'm glad that it was actually Laios' monologue about monsters being, you can't trust monsters, but now that it's his sister, what do we do with that? So I feel like, though, Laios's speech about monsters was also what enabled him to fight against Fallon as the KFC dragon and stab her, because he knows that that's what they have to do. Again, I freaking love Laios. He's my favorite. Tystro3204 for episode 17 says, seeing Fallon was just as excited about the monster food as Laios when they introduced it to her, and how they're quite similar in general as well. I believe that if she was in control, Fallon would probably think that she looks pretty cool too. Silver lining, I suppose. Yeah, I kind of wondered about that, like, because when Laios talked about with Asebi that Fallon could gain their consciousness back and control over their autonomy, I was like, would Fallon be repulsed by how they look? Would they be scared of how they look? There's a part of me that wonders if Fallon would be self-conscious about how everyone else thinks about her, even if she thought she was cool. So I don't know, but hey, if everybody eating the monster food in the dungeon has the chance to get merged with something or become like Fallon in the future, then everybody will be in the same boat and it won't matter. So there was a lot of theories last week. There were a lot of theories that were posited last week that we're going to have to see if they play out, but we'll see. Makamu 12 for episode 17 says to me, and here we're going to get into some talk about Shuro and Marcel and Laios and Fallon, so gear up. But Makamu starts us off by saying, to me, I always saw Shuro saying that he's leaving for his homeland as him not throwing in the towel. He absolutely has feelings for Fallon, but I think he genuinely believes realistically that there's no hope in the situation and that Fallon cannot be brought back. That's why he says he's going to hand Marcel over to the elves of the West so that the elves can take the Chimera Fallon out so that Fallon's soul can rest in peace. He basically thinks that Marcel, Chilchuk, Laios, and Sinchi are on a suicide mission with no positive results to come from their sacrifices, and that the best thing for Fallon and everyone would be to end her suffering even if it means that he or anyone else could no longer see her anymore. But just in case they somehow manage to survive and save Fallon, and he gives Laios the bell and asks him not to die. See, I don't disagree with that, but I'm going to say two things about that. One, in my opinion, and this is all just my opinion, like everybody's entitled to their opinion about the show and the interpretation. Here's my thing about it. And I don't disagree with Makamu. I think that they're correct that that's Shuro's logic. I think that's exactly what Shuro says. For me, though, I feel like it's kind of half-assed for me, and that maybe is a little bit harsh of a word, but for Shuro to be like, well, I don't think that it's going to work, and I think you should just let Fallon die and let her soul rest in peace, but if it somehow works out and you somehow save Fallon, here's a bell to get out. And I'm like, that's a cop-out. You should just stay. Marcel's staying. And that's my other thing with it. Shuro believes that Fallon is a lost cause. And he loved her, but she's a lost cause. She's a KFC dragon, a monster. There's no saving her. Just let her die and let her soul move on. But Marcel isn't giving up hope. Marcel's like, I don't care if there's a 1% chance that Fallon's soul could be saved. I don't care if it kills me in the process. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to save it. And that may not be realistic and may not be the pageant answer or like the hyper realistic answer, and that might be idealism. But as a romantic myself, if my choice of partner was between somebody that was like, well, you probably ain't gonna live, so I'm gonna peace out, and someone that's like, I'm gonna fight for everything to make sure that you try to live, even if there's no hope, I'm gonna try my best to secure a hope. Guess who I'm going with? Guess who I'm sticking around with? It's not Shuro. So I feel like I understand why Shuro's doing the things that he's doing. I think it's very convenient to the plot that he's going to be conveniently off screen in case if we need help, which we probably will. So I think it's smart on the writer's part to have him off in the wings waiting to help out if there's like a last case scenario. And we'll probably never see him until the very climax of the show when we're like, oh yeah, Shuro, and then he'll magically pop in. I could be wrong, but at the end of the day, shipping wise, to me, that was a nail in the coffin. To me, that was like Shuro has no chance with Fallon after this moment because he gave up on her. And it's like, and he may want her soul to be at peace, but the fact that he just gave up on her and said, well, she needs to die so her soul can rest. I'm like, bitch, if I was stuck in a KFC dragon, I would want my lover to fight for me and to not give up until the very end, not to just be like, eh. And I know that's a huge exaggeration, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Shuro, but to me, that was like, that ship sunk. The moment he left in episode 17, I'm like, well, that ship is over. Now it's Marcel and Fallon, but y'all can ship who you want. You can disagree with me. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that, but I'm a hardcore Marcel and Fallon shipper, and so I doubt I'll be swayed. unless we get like strong evidential confirmation otherwise. So to go off of that, Sparata6232 said, "You haven't put in half the effort that Marcel has," said Laios to Shuro, officially deciding who his favorite potential in-law is. And again, Shuro didn't put in the effort. Did not put in the effort that Marcel has. It's about going the distance for your partner, even if you know that it might be futile. That's part of it. Then Cy Palmer 7425 says, "As we've seen with the small bit of Fallon while she was resurrected and the flashback, she really is similar to Laios. She seems to really appreciate monsters, and she gets quite enthusiastic about the monster cuisine. Hell, the one flashback of Fallon that we see from Shuro's perspective is her staring at a caterpillar, something that most people would find gross. However, Shuro was in love with Fallon and seems to hate Laios at the same time. I think it's interesting the double standards that he has over here." And I mean, some of the comments, like, I like Shuro's character a lot. I really do. And I don't want to throw shade at Shuro. I really don't. I'm pretty strong with my ships sometimes, but all ships are valid. If you ship Shuro and Fallon, that's cool. Maybe they'll get together, but I just don't agree with them being an in-game ship. I think there's lots of potential there and lots of fanfic AUs you can do with them. But I think in canon, I'm just like, I think that ship has sailed. And by sailed, I mean like titanically fell into the bottom of the ocean. But if you disagree, that's totally valid and totally cool. I do think that there is an interesting double standard there where Shuro was willing to forego all of the similarities that Fallon and Laios have with each other because Fallon's pretty. And he thinks Fallon's like aesthetically pleasing and he likes her voice and the way she thinks. But I'm like, the way she thinks is a lot like Laios. So, but again, I don't think Shuro has realized that. So we'll see. I do want to point out with Cy Palmer that there was a comment that kind of ties into that from XXX Kimball, XXX, that says, "With Toshiro and Laios' scuffle, I see it as coming from two different cultural contexts. The ongoing high context culture, Asian, versus the low context culture, European, communication clash. So for Toshiro, as the equivalent of a Japanese person, subtle social cues are the expected method of communication, with direct communication being seen as very rude. Also something that resonates with me due to my cultural background. I like to imagine that both Laios and Toshiro are autistic, but while Laios is unmasked, Toshiro is heavily masking his autism, which is why he's envious of Laios' ability to be himself, directly communicating his wants and needs without major social repercussions. And basically, these past two episodes have been Toshiro having a meltdown under all this stress. My poor autistic king." Of course, I don't know what the mangaka Ryoko Kui intended when she wrote this, but I like to think of it as some sort of commentary on this cultural difference. Being able to understand each other's differences and learning to accommodate them is the healthy thing to do. There isn't anything inherently wrong with either cultural background, and therefore, there shouldn't be an expectation that someone like Laios or Toshiro should change who they are. Yeah, I 100% agree with the fact that I think this is a commentary on the two cultures and that neither of them are wrong. They both are coming at it from just a different perspective, and they just rub off on each other in different ways based on that cultural perspective. My personal opinion, I don't think of Shuro as coded with autism, but that's just my perspective. Everybody's free to think what they want. I do think that Laios is neurodivergent. I don't know if Shuro is neurodivergent. I do think he's under a lot of stress and he like finally has a meltdown and just cracks. I don't know if I would describe Shuro as neurodivergent myself. However, I do 100% agree with Kimball that I think that Toshiro, he envied Laios' ability to be direct because culturally he just wasn't raised that way and that's not how they do it. But when he sees how direct Laios can be and how that can get the attention of people like Fallon, who he likes, and elsewhere, I think that he does kind of envy Laios from it and he wishes he could be more like Laios despite getting aggravated by him at the same time. So with that though, Highly Calm on episode 17 said, Ryoko Kui said in an interview that she didn't create Laios with neurodivergency in mind, but she has no issue with people interpreting him as such, which I like. I like when a mangaka or an author comes out and they're like, well, I didn't exactly interpret them that way, but I can see what you mean. Because sometimes, and I write myself, sometimes when you write things and people read it and like draw something out, you don't even realize it yourself. And you're like, oh, I wasn't thinking of that when I wrote, huh? And so then it kind of becomes like a aha moment. But now Chair Check 2424 replied to Highly Calm and said, didn't she, incredibly hilariously, say that Laios isn't neurodivergent because she has the same thought process as him? So it's like, are you projecting onto your characters? Are your characters pointing out things you might not realize about yourself? And I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying it's interesting that she said, if y'all want to code him this way and interpret it that way, that's fine. And I think that's cool. I think it's cool that she opens up that possibility and that interpretation for him, because I can see it. And I know people and have worked with students who are neurodivergent, and I definitely could see them agreeing about Laios and connecting with him as well. And I think it's cool to have representation for multiple cultures, backgrounds, sexualities, ways of thinking. Like, there's so many different types of humans in the world. Why not have characters that are reflective of that? I think that's amazing. So awesome. Okay, then I have two comments about episode 18 that are tied together. One is talking about, well, they both are kind of talking about the copies. So I had been guessing the copies in episode 18 of who matches up with what. And Icy said, you were right about Chilchuck viewing Laios as being dumb. Poor Laios. Squidward Marcel was Cinchi. Oh my God. And you were right about Chilchuck as that copped the JoJo or handsome Cinchi, which will come back. We're going to come back in a minute to that Chilchuck envisioning Cinchi as handsome. We're going to come back to that with the last comment. And you were right again about blushy Chilchuck being Cinchi's. Buff Laios was Marcel, and the Marcel with the red collar and bow was Laios. Apparently he has trouble remembering her hairstyles. But Chilchuck apparently only remembers her hair. Thus, she has the braids. Marcel remembered only Cinchi's stature and build. Laios didn't remember the hole in Cinchi's helmet. Laios had the overall most accurate perception of each character, in my opinion. And I think that's kind of cool, because the whole episode before, they were chiding Laios because he's not good at social skills and observing things. And to my point with that, what I like about episode 18 is that Laios is observant. He does pay attention. He does notice fine details. He knows all of these details about the monsters. He does pay attention to a lot of things, but because he's not as invested in monsters as in people as he is monsters, he sometimes misses some things. So overall, he had the most accurate perception. It was just off a little bit, right? And so I thought that was really cool. I really liked that. But then Amelia Jean-Claude, and normally I'm not here to hear manga information, but in this case, the mods made an exception. I do remember that you're right about the handsome Cinchi being from Chilchuck's mind, and the manga saying that half-foots find dwarven features masculine and handsome. Now, we just need to convince Cinchi that Chilchuck's not actually a child, and we can really get this ship going. Yes! So, oh my God, Chilchuck's into bears, we just gotta convince Cinchi that Chilchuck's not 10, and we're set. Yes, please. Can we have this happen by the end of the series? I'm really rooting for Chilchuck and Cinchi. I'm really rooting for them. But also they said, I loved hearing your thoughts on which copy belonged to who. Thank you. Now, I also really want to see what kind of copy Kabru's mind would have come up with, and what kind of copy Laios's mind would have had made of Kabru. Here's my thing. I feel like Kabru's mindset, it's a good thing Kabru left in episode 17, or episode 18 we wouldn't have had a plot, because I feel like Kabru would have fine-tuned the details to each specific, or maybe they would have died, because in Kabru's mind, no, it would have been the opposite. They wouldn't have been saved in episode 18. They would have died, because Kabru would have remembered everyone picture perfectly, down to the wire. Every single physical detail would have been perfection. It would have been coming down to how they acted, because Kabru's perception of Laios is that he's this dark overlord that's secretly evil, when it's like, no, Laios is just oblivious. So Kabru would have probably hurt us more if he had stuck around, because the copies would have been so perfect they would have killed the originals, and that would have been a problem. Now, Laios, I imagine, the crayon drawings the kindergartners do. I feel like all I imagine is this like beige blob with blue eyes, and that's Kabru. Or Laios makes Kabru into a monster, and that's how he's able to draw him. He's like, well, if he looked like this, he would have been, what monster would Kabru be connected to? I keep saying Laios is like a werewolf because he's very dog-coded, but Kabru is very cat-coded. I picture Kabru like a sphinx, Yeah. Kabru would be like a sphinx. He knows all things. He's very all-knowing and asks many questions and speaks in riddles because he doesn't want you to know everything that's up his sleeve. Yeah. Kabru is sphinx-coded. Kabru is sphinx-coded and Laios is werewolf-coded. Into it. Into it. So, okay. Wow, I talked for 20 minutes, but these questions were worth it. So, thank you all for your questions. Okay, we have taken long enough, so we're going to get started here. But thank you all for watching with me and for all the comments. I really appreciate it. And we are going to start episode 20 of Delicious in Dungeon. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And damn these strobe light effects. Here we go. Here we go again. The Netflix like da-da, it's like, oh my god. Yeah, so strobe light effects. Watch yourself for that. Check yourself. Now this walking mushroom makes me feel like terrified. Now this walking mushroom has me a little bit concerned. And honestly, what happens if them eating the monsters in the dungeon gives up the possibility of them becoming monsters that will then get eaten in the dungeon? I mean, I feel like since she would be fine with it because since she's like, well, that's just the cycle of the dungeon, circle of life. But I don't know. I feel like Marcel and Laios might be like, about that. Is there a Sphinx in this series? Because that one kind of looked like it. Or was it a harpy? It could have been a harpy. Yeah. And now that we have all the duplicates, it's like, were the duplicates looking down at them to eat them? Oh, and there was a spirit that was flying through the air. This OP is really happy and cutesy, but when you see everyone's souls being taken out of their body, oh, Asebi's there now! Oh! That's cute! I'm a little bit concerned. I know. Oh! Oh, that's cute. Oh, I love they changed the OP. That's super cute. Uh-oh. This is the way. Oh, well, he's dog-coded, so I'm not surprised. Oh. Oh, from the ED, the snow. Oh, why? Oh, wow. So is the ED like Fallon at the place where she lost to the dragon? Wow. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Oh, for the Lord of the Island. Ah, okay. Asebi didn't come down. Oh. Oh, I love Marcel's braids. Those are so cute. Oh. Oh, my underwear. I mean, Laios in those underwear, I'm sure there's been fan art. Uh-huh. Was it monsters? Oh, her little ear's being frostbit. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Yeah, if Marcel gets a cold, that's a bad thing. I got my soap. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, let's not be talking slander. Oh. Okay. So she is from the East too. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, shit. I thought it was because he was short. Since she's like, I'm the peacemaker. Get over here. Oh. Are they on top of like a globe of ice? What is this? I mean... Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Yikes. Oh. Was this Chicago? Since she's like, there's promise. We have fish. Oh. Oh, wow. I was going to be like, is it going to just all burst? There'll be water everywhere? Oh, shit! Oh, no! Oh, no! An ice golem? Oh, because it has an ecosystem on its back. Oh. Oh, crap. Well, shit. Oh, no! Not good, Cotton! Oh, oh, oh! Oh, Laios! Oh, honey! Oh, wow. Oh, but his arm. Oh. Ah! Oh, shit! Okay, good. Maybe it's good that you're part cat. Oh, it's a fish. Or is it a fish? Okay. What is this, Goku and Piccolo? Ah! Well, it could be. What is this, Goku and Piccolo against Raditz? Come on now. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, oh, no. Crap. Crap. Not good. Why is this not good? Oh, crap. No. Oh, shit. Oh. 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 Good. So I'm useless to you. Figure it out. What about Senshi? Oh, 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 really? Oh, really? Good job. Good job, Iku. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Oh. Oh, Sichu was buried. Well. Well. Oh. Don't get a cold, everybody. Oh. 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 Tis a flesh wound. Hmm. They're like, well. Mm. Mm. Ah! You misunderestimate the kinkiness of this crew! Oh my god, no. Get him out of here. Oh. Marcel's like, I don't want to admit that I'm into this. Oh. It's a sauna. Yeah. Marcel's like, hell yeah. Laios isn't allowed to see her. I love this. Oh. Uh-huh. Ooh. Oh, is this custard? Oh, we're not making custard. No. Do you all know what a disaster that would be if I tried to make custard? I was doing good with the hollandaise sauce. Although, good on them for reusing everything. Aw, teach her manners. Why did he go outside? Did he go outside naked? No. No, damn it. Get out. Yeah, custard. No. Oh, no, that's not Marcel. Oh. What is this Chill Chuck fan service? Aw. Aw. Chill Chuckin'. Look at you. Okay. Oh. What is this? I have like a pseudo ship with Chill Chuck and Asebi now. Okay. Ah! What is this friendship? Oh, nice fit, Chill Chuck. Love. Aww. Aww. She looks like Mikasa. Oh, Namari's. Okay. She's like, look, we're all... Why? Travel food? They're terrifying. I love Asebi being like, we're very adamant about not eating the other monsters. If you spill it again, Sinji's gonna be mad. Aww. Yeah. Well, are we gonna explain that? Oh, there we go. Oh. Right. Oh. Interesting. But I'm still gonna eat its head off. Children's like, y'all are ridiculous. Oh. Oh, Tade. Aw. I don't believe you. I mean, good for Tade. Aw. So are they almost to the door? Will Fallon be there this time? Aw. What? Oh, no more fish. Yeah. This is what we got. Oh. Oh. Mm. Well, but aren't these interdimensional creatures? Well, when they die. True. Uh. What? What? What is this? What? No, 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 no! Oh. Oh. Wait. It's not a blizzard anymore. Isn't that weird? Oh. Dire wolves? Oh, shit. Right. Oh, in the blizzard, I'm sure. What are you doing? Oh, no. What are you doing, girl? Oh my God. Oh. Well, that's not exactly what we meant. It's just about teamwork. Well, we were injured. Oh. Oh no. She's gonna flake and leave him. Shit. Uh. Uh. Hmm. Well. Oh no. Uh. Well, shit. Now what? We're all split up. Oh crap. Oh. Uh. Oh. Hmm. Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Uh. Hmm. Oh. Oh, you gonna do that to us? Why? Why would you do that to us? Damn it. Oh shit! Oh crap! Oh no! Oh crap! Oh! Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh. Oh shit! Oh. 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 I mean, are they okay? Things that are probably from another dimension that I probably shouldn't eat, but... Right. Right. You're going to have to go through some hurdles. Yeah, that's a great question. Right. Well, you know. Huh. I like the way they frame shortcuts in that. Laios just hugged the dire wolves until they left. Ah! They were like, F this. Oh my god. Aw, Laios' face there is really cute. Ah! Oh no, they got the sheep. Aw. Oh no. Oh. We're gonna cook it anyway. Oh my god. Oh no! Oh my god. You just made lamb chops out of a baby lamb. Yeah. 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 That looks gorgeous, but y'all. Mmm. But they taste like crab. Oh, weird. Mmm. And we come back to it. But. Aww. Ha! Aww. Aww. That's adorable, Tade. Mmm. Yeah. Well, she gives me snacks too, so you know. Oh. Good for you, it's Izumi. Chillcheck knew not to do that. True. Oh. Oh my god. She's like, but. Oh. Oh, dungeon food. What can we do? Oh my gosh. Curious. I don't know who that mage is getting led through. Unless that's supposed to be the lunatic mage. Interesting. Well, there's also that mage that was there as well for there. Unless it's supposed to be Reen there in the other image. Huh. Yeah. These elves. Hmm. Oh, and Asebi's with them now. Aw. Cute. Cute. Okay, we're at the bottom where there's a bunch of snow. Are we going to see Fallon by the end of the season here? Are we? Maybe. Oh, Nasebi's with them now. Aw. Okay. Well, huh. How about that? Well, that was cute. No, that was actually terrifying for a hot second because I am so used in this series to people just getting their faces bashed in. Like, episode 17, y'all, was kind of a game changer because it showed us how gruesome and gory this series can be. And so the whole golem fight, I'm expecting Laios to just get his head bashed in or like something terrible to happen. And I'm like, well, that's just the way we're going to go. Okay. But luckily he just gets his arm hurt and Asebi is very nimble, very agile, and very capable of taking care of themselves. So that's good. I'm glad that Asebi is on. I'm glad Asebi Ikazumi is on their way to proving themselves to be a very capable member of this party, which is great. I also love that the OP is adapting to the party changing, which is super fun. I love Asebi now being in the party. That's super cute. We don't have their new like wardrobe on, but that looks nice. It looks fierce. So we're getting down to the level of back where we started. Of course, we come full circle and we all go back to where the series started, back on this level. Now, where do we think the door leads? We're going to get to that here in a hot second. But Asebi, I like the fact that Asebi and Laios don't exactly meet eye to eye since they're so cat and dog coded, right? Which, here's the thing. The series is making for a pretty interesting claim about combining humans, tall men, dwarves. It's making a pretty big case for interspecies co-DNA mingling to not be totally disadvantageous. Because, I mean, you've seen how strong Fallon is, obviously, and Asebi proves that having cat-like abilities is actually kind of a plus. I mean, granted, you're covered in hair, which is, something to deal with, and you might be worried about sharing a soul with another creature, but that's something to deal with too. But it is showing some advantageous things. You know what it reminds me of? Okay, I want to say this. I was reminded of this ever since episode 17, and I've been very hesitant to mention it because I want you all to hear me out, okay? I want to preface this by saying I have not finished the series, and I want to preface this again by saying that before I started my channel, it was right before I started my channel. It was right when the pandemic, COVID was going on, and we were all stuck inside and we couldn't go anywhere. My brother and I started to get back into watching anime again, and that's right before I decided to start the channel. So we had watched, for example, we had caught up on Haikyuu for the most part, and then we had watched Demon Slayer Season 1 together and did that. And so that's why there's only Demon Slayer Season 2 right now on the channel, because I've watched Season 1 already. But he had wanted me to watch Hunter x Hunter. And so I'm going to get into a few Hunter x Hunter spoilers kind of real quick here and then go through that. But he had wanted me to watch Hunter x Hunter. And I'll be honest with y'all, I do want to go back because I've forgotten a lot of what took place. Because we were binging it, like watching like 6 or 7 episodes at a time. And I was kind of like playing on my Switch, not really paying too much attention. So I honestly did not give the series a very fair understanding. So I would love one day to watch Hunter x Hunter all the way through, go back through, catch up, and finish it because I've never finished it. But where I got to was right at the start of the Chimera arc. The Chimera Ant arc is right where I got to, and I never finished it. So I got to right at the beginning when the first person merges with the first bug. That's about the time I started my channel and stopped. And I was like, okay, well, I'll get back to that one day and give it a better look-see if I do this on the reaction channel. And that was like 4 years ago. So I've forgotten a lot about Hunter x Hunter, but I remember them damn Chimera Ants. And I was like, aha! whoa, that's dark and freakish. So yeah, so that's what this reminds me of, is the Chimera Ant arc, or what I know of it. I've not gotten very far into it, and so eventually I have to go back through there. So I don't want any spoilers about Hunter x Hunter. Please don't do that. Please don't say anything about Hunter x Hunter other than, oh, you should watch it, because I don't want to read anything about that. But I will say that's what it reminds me of. And so, end of Hunter x Hunter spoilers. But with that being said, I think that there is this really cool commentary that could be talked about, because you have various different races in this, or species in this series. And the idea of this interdimensional merge with another being possibly making you stronger is something that could be interesting to explore. I don't know what the series is going to do with that, but I think Laios is down for it. Would Laios be okay with becoming a chicken dragon? Absolutely. I think he wants to become a wolf man more than anything, but I could see him being down for it. I don't think Senshi would care, as long as he could cook. Marcel would probably be the most weirded out about it, although in this episode, I think Marcel's perfectly fine with it, to be honest, but we'll get into that. And I think Chilchuck would be the one to be like, now wait a minute. I think Chilchuck would be the hesitant one of the group about that, right? And I can understand why Asebi is upset, because it's like her body was modified without her permission, which is not cool. So I could see that being a major source of her being like, welp, I'm not about this. So they come across the flashback to this door that they got to, and the door has all of these like plants that have like fans coming off of them. They look kind of like fungi. They're like sticking down. There's some weird tendrils that almost look like ovaries or headphones. I don't know what exactly this illustrative design on the door is supposed to represent, but that's as far as they got before the dragon showed up. So assuming that was going to lead to a deeper floor, what do we do about that? Anyway, they find their leftover things out in the snow, and Marcel's like, yes, my sleeping bag, thank God, which I don't blame her. I don't want to rescue a sleeping bag. Laios' underwear, y'all laugh, but look, I just know, based on the comments and based on my own intuition, I know there are some thirsty Laios lovers out there. I know there is. Discord, if you could be sharing, is there fan art of Laios in these underwear? I mean, you don't have to share it. You don't have to. It's up to you. I mean, if you happen, just post it in the Discord. I mean, and tag it like not safe for work or whatever. That's fine. I mean, if Umiko-chan on Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever has, fan art, you could share it, or Instagram, you could share it. I mean, you could. You just let me know if you do. So yeah, just if you get on that, it's fine. I really like Marcel's braid. It's great. What were we talking about? I really like Marcel's braid. It's super cute. I love her hairstyle. This is one of my favorite hairstyles she's had. I also love the attention to detail that the series gives. Like Marcel's, the tips of her ears being frostbit and getting cold. Like, that's super cute. And Chilchuck always is drawn so innocent when he looks up and he's like, are you getting a cold? We got to go find some heat somewhere. So really super cute. Also, I did not expect to see Asebi and Chilchuck forming quite the bond this episode, which was really cool. Which Asebi is here's the thing, Chilchuck can be a little snarky, little sarcasm goblin, and Asebi can be snarky and sarcastic as well. So it's kind of like when you're at work, when you join a company or you start a job and you're kind of cynical and sarcastic and everybody around you is like sunshine and rainbows. And you're like, yeah. And then you find the one person in the break room and they're like, God, I hate Mondays. And you're like, you. We're gonna jam, me and you both look at each other and you're like, yes. So I feel like that's Chilchuck and Asebi. Like, Chilchuck and Asebi looked at each other and they're like, is this all kind of bullshit? Oh, it is? Yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna be great. I feel like Chilchuck has needed someone that's more grounded and down to earth and not like high off in the clouds like Marcel and Laios can get and like Senshi can get. So Asebi is exactly the grounding that Chilchuck needs. And they start out in a very rough place, especially with Asebi being like, oh, well, I heard your race is called half-foots because they steal so much that they get their feet chopped off. And I was like, that's not where I thought that was from. I thought it was just because they were short. Oh, So, and of course, Chilchuck takes offense to that. And then we get to the ice golem and they make up later. But I thought originally when we saw this globe of snow, I wasn't thinking of an ice golem because when we saw like the fish and everything under it, I thought that it was either one of two things. Either it was like a snow globe and it was going to be some like magic talisman that the lunatic magician put there and it was going to like erupt and cause some chaos. Or I thought it was like a magic, like infused globe of water that had just, which is basically a snow globe, that had just been frozen. So I was not even thinking about the golems, which is super clever. I love the ice golems. I love the idea that they exist here. I don't know why they exist here, but I'm assuming it's because of the temperature change. But I also like the idea that Marcel's down to teach Laios some more magic. Although Laios saying that the hallucination's getting stronger, that seems a bit problematic. And Laios, of course, is not one to dwell on such things or make them vocal, so he's probably like, it's fine. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I don't know how to feel about that. And I also don't know, well, I'm assuming it's because of him learning magic, because if the hallucinations were caused by them eating the monsters, everyone would be getting hallucinations, but it's just Laios. So anyway, so since she is thinking about all the possibilities of fish that they could eat if they could get the water to unfreeze, but with the magic, I also like that that's kind of a cool play on what Cinchi has learned so far, because at the very beginning of the series, like around episode 6 and 7, Cinchi was like, oh, we're not going to use magic. We don't need to use magic to simplify things. That's making shortcuts, which they talk about shortcuts in this episode. And by this episode, you know, how much longer later, Cinchi's like, yeah, just use the magic and we can heat up stuff. So Cinchi's kind of come around to realizing that sometimes a shortcut can be a good thing. And this episode is kind of like that, being like, you know, sometimes you have to make use of the shortcuts. If you try to go the long way around, I love Marcel's message to Asebi, like, you are eventually in life going to encounter things that you don't like. You are going to encounter things that you find like unsettling, unsightly. You don't want to eat that food. You don't want to go that way. And you can take the long way around. You can bypass all the things you don't like, but Marcel's like, you're missing out on shortcuts that could make your journey so much easier. She's like, if you just go through those hurdles rather than take all this time around them, yeah, there's a risk. Yeah, you might have to do some stuff that's unpleasant, but it also is going to save you time and help you get to the other side faster and accomplish your goals. And it's probably safer that way in the long run than trying to run away from everything. Now, I say that, but that also kind of is like Marcel kind of enabling the fact that she's like, you know, sometimes you got to use ancient forbidden magic. I mean, am I right? This is like Dungeons and Dragons. Delicious in Dungeon, aka Dungeon Meshi, is the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia of anime. And I will stand by that claim. I just need Laios and Charlie to talk about Pepe Sylvia and we'll be fine. So yeah, so the ice golem shows up. Cinchi's buried in the snow. When all this was going on, I was too busy looking at the little talisman of the golem that got frozen. And that's what it was. I was too busy looking and trying to see the explanation Cinchi said. I didn't see him in the snow where he's buried. Poor Cinchi. And he's like, welp. He's like, the talisman's there, so that's how we got down here. So them facing the ice golem was not the best of times. I think it's really great that Asebi is very useful in this situation, and I loved Asebi and Chilchuck working together. Because Laios can't really do much. Laios has armor on. He's not very agile in this moment. He doesn't have any weapons he can really use against them. Cinchi's out. Marcel doesn't really have enough magic to use against the ice golem without possibly endangering them where they are, like with the ice shards. So they need somebody that's quick and nimble, agile, and stealthy, and that's where Asebi comes in. And Chilchuck, who does not have the physical strength and attributes of using the speed and agile abilities, does have the know-how of how to apply tools. And so Asebi and Chilchuck make a pretty effective team. And I really liked how quickly Asebi was able to pick up on what Chilchuck was throwing down. I thought that was great. Also, there were about 4 times in this entire battle that I thought Asebi was going to get crushed. And I was like, well, there went Asebi. Also, I'm sorry, but the moment that Chilchuck fired the arrow, I literally just watched, it's going to premiere next week on the channel, but I just watched an episode of Natsume and Friends, Natsume's Book of Friends, that involves an arrow. And I instantly thought of it in this episode and was like, okay. It'll be on the channel next week. You'll see it then. But Chilchuck firing the arrow, and when it originally ricocheted off the golem, I lost it. That was so damn funny. I was expecting it to ricochet and hit Marcel. But no, the thing was it didn't miss. The arrow got embedded near the totem, and so all that Asebi had to do was just crack it open and break it. It was great. And now I know how to take it down. I love the animations. The animation in this episode was wonderful. It's been great, but it was really good in the battle scene as well. Okay, so much Chilchuck and Cinchi shipping in this episode. Like Chilchuck getting Cinchi out from the snow and Marcel and Laios like mending each other's wounds. Honestly though, if you shipped Chilchuck and Asebi, I kind of don't blame you. We're talking about all ships being valid. If you're on the HMS Chilchuck and Asebi, or Chilchuck and Ichi, the Chiliku, if you're on the Chiliku ship, I don't blame you at all. I think it's super cute. I mean, I kind of like Chilchuck and Asebi in the same fashion I do Marcel and Laios. I like them as platonic besties. I like that personally. But if you told me Chilchuck and Asebi were a ship, I'm here for it. I kind of like Asebi and Chilchuck as like the two snarky, grounded individuals of the team that like bond platonically over their mutual disdain, right? Whereas I love Laios and Marcel as platonic besties because of their idealistic optimism and adorableness. So yeah, so they beat the golem. It's great. And Asebi's like, I'm the only useful one around here. And it's like, well, Asebi, you're the only useful one in this context. But as you see, Marcel and everybody has to help you guys all warm up, right? And get ready. So Marcel tells Asebi that she can change. You know, she can change and not have to worry about being seen. But Asebi reveals, well, if you got all this hair, you can't see my boobs, and you can't see any other part of me, so that's what we're going to do. And here's my thing. In this moment where Asebi changes, Chilchuck and Marcel had like a Shuro and Marcel moment with Fallon, and says, well, it's not like anybody would get excited to see a beast naked. You are absolutely wrong, because there is one person that would get excited. There are two people that got excited about seeing a beast naked. One was Marcel, who has decided that, no, I'm actually quite down with this. So, I mean, again, I'm totally fine with this. If you want to ship Asebi and Marcel, as well as Asebi and Fallon, you go right ahead. But to me, the moment of Marcel being like, oh, no. I mean, Marcel's into women. We all can establish this, correct? She's attracted to women. Can we establish this? I think it's pretty obvious. I do. Her and Laios, they are platonic in-laws. They are besties. Love them. But Marcel's into the ladies. And so, to me, Marcel being like, oh, Asebi, you don't put some clothes on. Because Asebi's like, well, who'd want to see a naked woman in here? Am I right? And Marcel's like, I feel like Asebi just proved that Marcel is totally down and totally fine with Fallon's chicken dragon body. So yeah. But what got me was when Marcel's like, no, I don't want you catching a cold. But also them like, oh my God, Laios being like, I want to count her nipples and see the base of her tail. And here's the thing. Laios saying that is not sexual in any way possible. That's what kills me. Laios is genuinely like, I want to write it down in my monster book for future reference. Like he's literally being the most clinical about it, and he's not being sexual at all. But it's still like, no, Laios, you're not allowed to do that. It's not right. It's not socially. It's so funny. Laios is at this weird crossroads of the intersectionality between human and monster, where he's fascinated by the monster attributes, but he's oblivious to the social cues that he's missing from the people side of it. And it's like, oh, Laios, sweetheart. The fact that they blindfolded him the entire time is hilarious to me. Hilarious. I also love Marcel with her body over Asebi and her little blush, like, no, put some clothes on. It's great. He's like, we should prepare something hot. So they start making a sauna, from the ice, and Marcel's like, let's take advantage of this and sweat it out. I love that we have, Asebi doesn't need to have a towel on because of her cat form, and Marcel has her towel on. But by this point, how far we've come. How far we've come. Because before the guys were embarrassed to see Marcel, halfway nude, and now it's totally fine. Laios just sitting there blindfolded because why not? The moment that Sinchi takes off the helmet and Chilchuk looks over and says, "That thing comes off." Have you not watched him sleep, sir? Have you not seen him sleep? Have you missed that, Chilchuk? But also, I was like, the Chilchuk and Sinchi fan service. Love it. And then I was like, why am I blindfolded? So yeah, I thought it was super cute. There was also some nice Chilchuk fan service. I wouldn't kick Chilchuk out of the bed for eating crackers. Just saying. So yeah, I find it interesting that, I guess Asebi only ate the fish. Because I was like, did Asebi eat the nightmares? But, okay, so as far as cooking this week, I don't think we're cooking this week. One, because I'm about to go on my trip and I don't think I'll have time to do a cooking segment. But two, the things that we made this week, we're going to talk about them individually and why Romania is not making them. I think that the candied mandrakes are self-explanatory, although you could candy yams. I guess you could do candied yams. I guess you could do that, but I don't know if they wouldn't resemble a mandrake like in this episode enough to really make it warranted, I suppose. I will be honest with you, cooking with eggs into something that's not scrambled makes me very wary. If it's not an omelet and it's not scrambled, I get wary with eggs because I'm like, I don't want food poisoning. The hollandaise sauce, I'm sure, was fine when we did that, but it's still like, And I'm going to be honest, custard terrifies me. I've watched enough episodes of the Great British Baking Show to know that if you don't make custard exactly right, it will curdle. I hate cottage cheese. And I was like, that sounds disgusting if you get it wrong. So while this looks really cute and really good, and I like the fact that it's kind of like a pudding, it's neat. But I'm just like, no, I think we're going to skip on the custard. And then you have to set them in the ice and everything. Custard's finicky. I'm like, let's not do that. I love that Marcel took the shed hair from Asebi and made like a little like token with it. And Chilchuk's like, really? Like, are you that bored? How bored are you? Here's the thing. Chilchuk says, how bored are you? But if you look at him in that moment, he's fixing Asebi's bag. Like, how bored were you, sir? I thought that was adorable that he fixed her bag. I thought that was super cute. So yeah. And then I love that Sinchi is constantly trying to teach table manners to Asebi, to Ikasumi, being like, no, you sit at the table, you wait for everybody to get here, and then we all eat together. Like, Sinchi in dad mode, or mom mode, or parent mode, or whatever you want to say, is absolutely adorable. I think it's really precious. Meanwhile, Laios is out doing the ice bucket challenge, which Chilchuk's like, get the fudge back in here. Go on. So it's cute. We have the custard. It's sweet. Laios grabbing Sinchi's knee and thinking it's Marcel. Maybe Sinchi's knee is smooth. Maybe Laios doesn't realize women shave, or that Marcel has. Maybe Marcel hasn't. Who knows? But I love that the bag gets fixed by Chilchuk. It was super cute. And for Asebi, you can tell that it was like a peace offering where Chilchuk's like, I'm sorry for calling you a beast. That was uncalled for. You're a person too. I've got a sharp tongue, so I got to watch it sometimes. But traveling together with a bunch of strangers can feel suffocating and annoying at first. So once you get used to it, there are perks. I love that he's like, you can get others to handle stuff that you can't. I love that Chilchuk sees parts of himself in Asebi. And he's like, look, I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels to join this crazy motley crew, but there are some perks to it. So just hang in there, kid. I thought it was adorable. It was super cute. I loved it. And Asebi's like, what is this friendship? Love it. So they all eat it, but Asebi's like, no. I love the fit of everybody's winter's clothes. Chilchuk's winter fit, adorable. That black little coat that he wears, super cute. Laios looks great in like the teal navy blue. It's not even navy. It's like a teal blue. It's cool. Marcel looks adorable, of course. And then they outfitted Namari's I love Namari's scarf and everything to be a little bow. It's very Kiki's delivery service with the red bow like Gigi. It's also very Mikasa with the hair that Asebi has like Attack on Titan. I'm living for it. I love it. It's super cute. So yeah, and then Marcel has her hair down for it. You know, Marcel gets her hair down when she gets lesbian tendencies. So then we have the candied mandrakes, which, you know what? Candied sweet potatoes, I'd be all about. I would. So Asebi's reasoning for not eating the monsters is she says that it can cause diseases and turn you into monsters. Now, of course, none of our crew, to our knowledge yet, have turned into monsters, except when they were resurrected using the monster's blood and bone, like Fallon was. So I think there's something that Lio's saying, like, look, none of us have turned into monsters yet. We've been eating this stuff for months. So, but Marcel points out that Asebi could be referring to the fact that the food has this dark energy from another dimension and that it's, you know, making you impure and corrupting you. But, you know, I feel like there's going to be a deeper conversation later on about corruption and purity. And I mean, I won't be surprised if like the other species turn out to be like something similar to how all these monsters were created. Like it's all like, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a deeper commentary about what makes one pure and corrupted, because I'm sure there's some pure individuals that are more so corrupt than anything that they are from eating the mandrakes. So I don't know. But Asebi also is a very picky eater, and I respect that. I'm a super picky eater as well. But poor Laios getting cut across the face. I like that Laios doesn't get mad. He just looks at Asebi and is like, why won't you eat it? What's wrong? Talk to me. I like that Laios is making an effort to be very direct in his conversation and just ask. Because that's honestly, you could easily see a character like shutting themselves off and just distancing, but Laios doesn't distance. Laio like brings you closer to him. It's why Kabru's so confused, because Laios doesn't act like other humans, and he's just like, Kabru X.exe cannot compute. So you could catch strange diseases and turn into a monster. And Laios is like, well, if eating monsters turned you into the one, it would be a very simple story. Which is kind of a meta thing of like the author being like, it's not that simple, guys. There's more to it than that. It's the idea of becoming impure. It's not exactly logical, but I think most people, myself included, avoided them for that reason. It feels like you're absorbing something bad in some way. And with new diseases popping up from creatures close to humans, I don't think the Vega Virgin would be brushed off so lightly. But I mean, here's the thing. It's like, yeah, the idea that you are afraid of the unknown and you don't want to eat something from another dimension because it could hurt you. It's like, well, okay, then starve is basically the dungeon's thing, right? And I don't know, again, I don't know if that impurity is tying to kind of like, we talked in another series that I just finished about, you should go watch it. It's Land of the Lustrous. It's great. But in Land of the Lustrous, one of the things we talked about was the idea of, and this isn't really a spoiler out of context, but the idea of like eating the underworld and the mythology of eating the food of the underworld and that it traps you there. And so I wonder if people have ate, you know, beings of the dungeon and now they can't leave the dungeon and their souls are trapped there as well. Which could be a case. It could be the case that your soul, once you partake of the food of the dungeon, you can't leave, but I don't know. And so I like that she ends up eating it anyway. And Chilchuk's like, my, how far you've come, Marcel. And so Asebi's like, before, I would just give my food to Tade. I love Tade. Tade's so cute. I was really curious by this flashback. So Asebi's been with them for a while, right? I thought that here's the thing that kind of got me and was weird to me about this flashback is that Asebi became a cat person before they all went down into the dungeon, right? How's that work? I thought that Asebi was with their crew and got resurrected from a cat or something and was transformed while they were in the dungeon. But they were in this form before they even went down there. So what's the deal? I guess we'll find out. Unless they were transformed that way while they were in the dungeon and then were taken out and taken back to Shuro's, but this seems like it was in the East. So how'd you get in that form? Who cursed you? Well, you said dark magic. I assumed it was dark magic from the dungeon, but that does not seem to be the case. So who cursed you? I'm curious. I want to know more. So they're going through, traveling along, getting deeper towards that door, and they decide to camp out because of the blizzard, and poor Senshi is wore out. So honestly, they're running low on supplies. They need to find some more food, and quickly, because they're down to like potatoes, mushrooms, and some like mollusks and mandrake leaves. And that's all they got. They're out of fish. And Asebi's pissed about that. And then I like that Laios is like, well, you can't just look around and see, food just lying around. And he's like, you might have to eat a monster whether you like to or not. And Asebi's like, no. And Laios is like, look, has anyone ever turned into a sheep or a pig after eating them? If a blind person eats an eyeball, does that mean they'll see again? And I'm like, well, no, but they're also not things from other dimensions. So I think there is a little catch there where it's like, Laios, I'm like, dude, the things that you're eating are also from a different dimension. So you don't exactly know how it could affect you. Sheep only eat grass, but do they turn to plants? Well, here's the thing. Sheep only eat grass, but if you've watched The Lion King, you know that but lions eat the antelope eat the grass. And so we're all connected in the great circle of life. So yeah, I mean, the sheep eat the grass, but when they die, they turn into grass, and it starts the cycle all over again. Which, I'm sure that the mangaka is making a statement about that. But I love Laios saying the phrase, food and nutrition are more complex than that. Laios in a modern AU would be a personal trainer. He would be a nutritionist / personal trainer. 100%. I absolutely believe that. And then Asebi says, well, what do you call that? Bonkers town is what we call that. Absolute bonkers town with these plants that bloom into sheep. Now they create this illusion, right? That bloom into this. And Laios is like, oh, those. Well, that in fact is a BAROMETZ. And there's like sheep growing into a tree. And he's like, it's a BAROMETZ. And he's like, why'd they have to show up now? He's like, they're relatively harmless, but they do lure in carnivores, which is a problem because Laios is thinking, it's great we have a food source, but also it's going to attract other animals. In this case, dire wolves. Which I love the idea that Laios fought off the dire wolves by just acting crazier than the dire wolves. I mean, that checks out. I also love the image of Marcel looking for her staff, and it's like a little twig, and she's like, shit! That was great. That was amazing. So I'm really glad because I thought in this episode, that when Asebi started walking off by themselves, taking off on their own, I thought that we were going to get the team split up again. I'm like, no, we've established that's a bad idea. So instead we get some Asebi flashback as Asebi's planning to leave them. And we see that Asebi, has just been kind of avoidant and runs away very easily, right? They tend to run away and just be really flaky. And we see that flashback with them and Tade. And they're like, well, you should be more grateful we're keeping you here. And then Tade's like, well, it's fine. I just wanted to protect you. So then the dire wolf attacks and Marcel ends up protecting Asebi in that moment. And Asebi breaks her arm. So I'm glad they're going to hopefully get that fixed. And she's like, I'll tell you why I'm going to eat monsters. Marcel's like, I want to learn more about magic. I want to save Fallon. And so I'm going to push forward towards those goals. And the only way to do that is I may have to go through some things I don't like, but it's going to be worth it in the end. If I avoid everything I dislike, then what does she say there? If I avoid everything, then I'll stray further and further from my path, which is kind of what Tade tells Asebi in the flashback, like what's happening to us now. Yep. That's why you need to be ready to take a few shortcuts, which, I mean, again, that is literally Marcel enabling herself to use ancient forbidden magic. She's like, sometimes you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. Sometimes you got to use forbidden ancient elf magic to resurrect your girlfriend. I mean, it's basically the same thing. But, it does seem to reach Asebi, and Asebi thinks back to her confrontation with Tade. Although Laios scaring the wolves away, I love that the wolves in that image of Laios looking a fool, the wolves just have the sweat drop like, do we even bother with him? Let's go. Let's go. Again, where's my werewolf AU? This feels very adjacent to it, but where is it? And then Laios, of course, asks if Asebe's okay. And Marcel's like, well, I'll use recovery magic to fix her arm. But instead of recovery magic, they just literally pop it out of socket, which is even worse. I love them both. This image of Marcel and Laios with the smiles on their faces are about to like rejoin, like re-dislocate Asebi's arm is basically their vibe. It's all their vibe, and I'm kind of here for it. I like the wolves are like, oh shit, and they run off with the sheep. She's like, the recovery magic hurt more. And so Laios like, I was hoping to harvest a BAROMETZ that was done, but the wolves made off with the mature one. So all we have is the unripe fruit. Now, I'm going to be real with you all. This was the third option of what we could cook this week. They split open they cut open the fruit of the BAROMETZ, which looks like kind of like a womb, kind of like a fruit, kind of like an egg, kind of like a bloody womb. And then inside of it is literally the sheep that hasn't grown out yet. And I'm going to be real with y'all. It looked like just an unborn sheep. And I was like, oh no, nope. I've raised cattle and I've raised goats, which are not too dissimilar to sheep. I've raised them my whole life, but I can't do veal. I know some people eat veal. I cannot do veal. It's the weirdest thing. And I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite when I say this, but you raise a cow, it lives out its life. It does its thing. Circle of life. I'm going to eat you. You've lived out your life. You are now mature. Okay, time to go. That's just circle of life. It's fine. But a baby, can't do it. And if you know the circumstances in which they raise veal, because veal are basically baby calves, I'm just not into it. That's where I draw my moral line. I'm like, yeah, you could let that cow grow up and live its full life and then be like, okay, time to go. But keeping the babies and killing them, I just can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm just not a veal person. It doesn't sit well with me. I do love leg of lamb and I love lamb chops, but the baby sheep, it's kind of the same deal. I mean, I get it. I get what they got to do. I would be Marcel in this case, though. It's not the same as the others, ethically speaking. I can't eat it. And since she's like, well, look, it's going to taste amazing. Let's just do it. You said no shortcuts. You said some shortcuts were necessary, so. But yeah, as much as lamb chops are pretty expensive where I'm from, and the food and stuff with it. I mean, I'm sure this looks amazing. It looks like there's some lavender or something on it, but I'm going to let the BAROMETZ Baloo, the BAROMETZ chops, I'm gonna sit that one out this week. I'm gonna sit that one out on principle. But it's fine. I'm sure we still have 21, 22, 23. We still have 4 episodes left. We have 4 episodes left of the season. We have a month of Dungeon Meshi left until our hiatus, until season 2. So I'm sure we'll at least have something else to cook between now and the end, right? I'm sure we'll have something else to cook. But yeah, they might look like sheep, but they taste more like crab, which is interesting. It's like one of those illusion cakes where it looks like something else, but you bite into it and you're like, oh no, this is a cake. So interesting. I love Tade saying that she just wants to be helpful to everyone. Tade is maybe my favorite of Shuro's crew. I love her. She's so sweet. I love Tade so much. She's adorable. So I find it interesting. It seems like Tade and Asebi are like indentured servants to Shuro's clan, but and they've been taken in, so I'm curious to know more about how that works. Guess we'll find out maybe. But Tade says the same thing as Marcel. Don't lose your way just because something is a bit bothersome. And Asebi's like, okay. So yeah, and then we cut back. Sometimes you do end up with something tasty out of it. They're like, good for you, Izazumi. It's super cute. And so Izazumi is like, just tsundere enough to not let all the cute cuddles and head pats. She's like, no, I'll eat when I have no other choices, and I'll eat what I want. And if I don't want to eat it, I won't. And Chilchuk's like, I warned you. Chilchuk's like, see, you just gotta. I like Chilchuk standing beside in solidarity of Asebi. It's really super cute. And so then poor Marcel, she doesn't get away. She has to eat the lamb chops. Marcel deeply regretted blocking her own means of escape. Oh, dungeon food. I'm curious. So it looks like in the 80, I want to comment real quick that there's a knight or someone leading an elf away from the zombies, but it doesn't exactly look like Marcel. It looks like a different elf. I don't know if it's our, lunatic magician or what, but it looks like a different elf. And then in the scene where Kabru and them have the lightning going on, it looks like that same elf, because it's the same staff, causing the lightning as well. So I don't know if Marcel gets a different staff or if this is a different elf or what the case may be. Because that's not, or is that supposed to be Reen? That might be Reen in that one. Because then you have the rest of Kabru's party, but interesting. I do like that Asebi is now at the end with the crew. That's super cute. I like that. I like it a lot. I just want the party to keep growing and getting more added to it to go rescue Fallon. We'll see. But yeah, that was a super cute episode. I liked getting some backstory on Asebi. I thought that was really sweet. I like that. I like Asebi's outfit in the final panel. They keep the scarf that Marcel gave to them, but they have more like they look more like a ninja, kind of. Also like Attack on Titan, kind of. So that's cute. But yeah, I can't believe we only have 4 episodes left. That's wild to me. So I'm super excited to see where we're going on this floor. We're on the 6th floor. So where we're going to go to, what's going to happen, who we're going to come up against. And I'm curious to see what other recipes come up in the next couple episodes and see if we get a chance to cook anything. By the way, I'm happy to tell you all that I have made the risotto from episode 19. I made it again the other night, which is, I don't know if y'all realize how much of a big deal this is. I'm not a cook. I don't like cooking. I rarely cook for myself beyond just microwaving something or heating up leftovers that I got from someone else's house. So I am not a cook. So for me to make the risotto again, and it was just as good the second time, is kind of a big deal to me. So Dungeon Meshi has made me cook, which is so wild, and doing it off camera in my own time. So there's that. Who knew? So anyway, I'm super excited to see what's going to happen next week. I hope you all are as well. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yes, I'll be back very soon with more of Delicious in Dungeon.